want to bring to the table? With the whole thing about relationship and the whole thing about sex and all that stuff there. What do you want to bring?
Well, I've been listening to Naomi. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yes, and it was quite interesting. And like she indicated, a lot of people would ask her why she called it the angry vagina. The term anger has some negative connotation, and probably she might want to expand on that a little bit before I give some commentaries and the different areas I would love to. Would you be able to do that?
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I get asked that all the time. So as I was saying earlier, the reason I called it angry is because, contrary to, the negative connotations, anger can be quite empowering. It's a thing that maybe, the energy that maybe moves people. It's a catalyst for change. It causes revolutions. So a lot happens from an angry state. So for me, when I said that Angry Vagina talks, it was a point of maybe a reference of women coming out when they're angry and speaking and sharing. So what I was also playing on was the fact that when the vagina is happy, when women are happy, they may stay in, they may get complacent, and they're not so empowered to do things. You're in a comfortable state. So for me, it was just more really trying to highlight that aspect of it. But lots of women come to the event. I don't think I've ever met a woman that's come that's angry. They've come and wanting to share their wisdom and to receive. So, but it's also maybe accepting where people are in their journey. So even if a woman does come and they're angry, hopefully by the end of it, she's talked, she's shared, she's expressed, and she's received some healing, so she won't end up being angry by the end of the night.
Okay, I could understand that. I was just concerned that you're aware that we have this angry black woman concept that plagues our perception of our women. So, I had that little bit of a concern. But now that you've cleared up and I've gotten some clarity over that, I subscribe to what you're saying.
But I think
I'm getting
right
a lot of feedback, Dougie. Am I coming through clearly?
Very clearly, man. You're good.
Oh, okay, great.
I just want to say thank you for your comments, because I do get asked that question a lot, and it is about the stereotype of the black woman being angry and and aggressive, but it's also about acknowledging that actually in some circumstances we do have some anger and we do have the right to express that anger, and almost not to be afraid of that anger. So apart from actually the media portraying us as this stereotypical angry black woman with a chip on the shoulder, actually black women have gone through quite a lot historically that means that actually they are holding some anger and they should be entitled to be able to express that.
Yeah, but let me just jump in there and see if I can give a little spin here. What comes to your mind, Dr. Love, when the word angry vagina? All right, for example, what I would say is this, right? No, hold on a second. Hold on. Because, for example, what comes to mind straight away, right, is frustration, right?
Okay.
Frustration, vex, disillusion, confused. I mean, these things come in my mind straight away. What comes to your mind when angry vagina has been said? Okay.
Well, I don't know if you want me to be honest.
Yeah.
What comes to my mind? Obviously, I would like to filter this through some intelligent conversation. But when I hear the term, the thing that jumps into my mind is that women, tend to use sex or as a tool, as a weapon. And I didn't know where she was coming from. And until she explained herself, I wasn't really very clear. So I wasn't sure whether or not, the concept of using the vagina as a tool, as a weapon, to express their anger and frustration. That's what came to my mind, to be
that's
honest.
just good. It's also but it's good that you've even said that, because I've also had people saying, even women mentioning, oh, I heard about the angry vaginas, but I thought it was a bunch of women who'd be shouting mad and being anti-men and expressing anger about that. But it really isn't that. Like I said, it's empowering. But we did have one event called Pum Pum Power, which again brought up some. You can see the type of personality that I have, but so I'm quite provocative. So it did bring up some. Oh, what's this pum pum power? What about penis power? And people making those types of comments. And we did discuss about women using it as a weapon, women using it to withhold, and we explored those types of situations. So maybe you wasn't that far away from your first assertions.
Okay. I mean, what I would like to explore is the whole aspect of sexuality, because we are sexual beings. You use the term pom pom power, you use the term penis power. There is a lot of power cradled within our sexuality. And in fact, I don't know if you know this, Dougie. Do you know that research has shown that sex is a very beneficial thing? In fact, I wrote a blog the other day that shared 20 benefits of having regular sex.
20 benefits?
Yes, 20 benefits. There are 20 separate beneficial aspects of having regular sex within the confines of a healthy relationship, a committed relationship, of course. And you will be shocked to know that the whole thing there's a healing power within it. Of course, it could be used in a destructive way, but used correctly, used wisely, used intelligently, it can bring healing, restoration, and progress and growth in all areas of our being, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and otherwise.
Absolutely, and even just the physical benefits are just like the oxytocin, which is the love hormone, which is released from the pituitary gland, and that creates bonding, well-being with your partner, empathy. It lowers your stress hormone, cortisol. Sex is very beneficial to our health and well-being. They say that actually it has also immune fighting properties. So as well as just the comfort, and like you said, it's not just physically, emotionally as well. So that creating that comfort, that safety, and then also spiritually as well. So that whole exchange between the male and the female, the whole tantra. Our last event, the Angry Vagina Talks, was all about tantra. So it's all about raising the vibration, the consciousness between the male and the female, intimacy and sexual energy. Sex is very important.
Well, in fact, I think it was last week, a sister who phoned in and said that sex is so powerful, it produces life.
Well, yes.
Yeah, it produces life, so you can't get no more powerful than that. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I remember that, Dougie.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You see? But you see, it's quite interesting because we're talking about sex now, because most, well, I'm making it German. Most, that's when it's plenty really to have a good time, have sex with each other. But the joy, that intimacy, the ultimate intimacy, and the things that we don't know what it is to have that intimacy, because we haven't been taught really. And one of the things Shazan was saying to us, that we need to be taught the art of making love, sex. Use the word tantra. You know about them thing there, Dr. Long?
Well, yes, I have a vague idea. Now that we're talking, after the watershed mark, where it's 11 o'clock in the night, hopefully all the children are in bed and we could speak as adults.
Yeah, but what is that? Because we might hear that for the first time. I know. Can you let people know what it is?
Well, I think Naomi is a lot more qualified to
No,
explain
that's
that
what I was
than
going to
I
ask.
do.
I was going to ask her just to break that down to us very quickly. No,
Yes.
Actually, to be totally honest, Tantra is really, really difficult to explain, and it's because it's embodied quite different in different cultures and historical texts. But basically, it isn't just what you think in the West, which is about, just sex. And I think it was David Bowie who said that, he popularized it by saying that Tantra sex meant that he could go on for hours and hours and hours. It isn't just that. It is about actually that whole energy and releasing of chakras. So the reason that people practice tantric sex is to actually elevate themselves with a consciousness, which is extending. So they use Kundalini. So it's about driving the sexual energy from the genitals and bring it up almost to your crown chakra, and that's where apparently the cosmic orgasmic release happens. So it's more than just the physical climax of ejaculation. Actually, it's beyond that. It's orgasmic. So that's what people say. There's different practices that you can do to get into that state. So there's the whole tantra, there's tantra massage, there's the Kundalini yoga, so that's about the breathing, the breath, it's meditation. So there's many things that are involved in it, but with the actual mantras, all of these things, yoga, even astrology, so they're all kind of linked and bonded to create a tantric state. So there's practical levels that you can go on Google and it will tell you maybe the art of being intimate. So before you actually have sex with your partner, it's about creating that scene, creating that sense, involving the senses, touch, smell, taste, all of those elements, candles, scents, and then almost being naked and using different tools to maybe highlight sensations, a feather, that type of thing, and then moving into then looking into each other's eyes, that intimacy, that connection, before you actually and really trying to hold off from actually having sex. So then going on to the massage, all of these things.
There's a science to this thing, yeah. Science.
Well, that is a bit esoteric for me. I'm a more pragmatic and practical. And I don't know if she's finished, but I would like to maybe make some other commentaries.
Yeah, come in,
on a slightly different line.
Come true.
But I wanted to finish what she's saying.
No, she's finished.
I finished.
Oh, she's finished.
Yeah, come true.
Now, I want to address some of the myths that are surrounding this. There's a concept that men love sex and women love affection, and that men love it more than women. I think this is a bit mythical, and I would like to just address this for a brief minute or two. Is that okay, Doki?
Yeah, go on, man. Go on.
Yeah. I don't think that we love it any more than women do. We may approach it slightly differently. I think that there's a reason why we tend to, quote unquote, seem to want it more. Usually there is a physical aspect, not that men aren't emotionally and psychologically and spiritually attuned to it, but there is a physical drive that drives men towards it. But there is also a deeper thing that I would like to say and suggest and point out, that men also use it as a way of communication. Women, generally speaking, and this is just generalization, this is not specifically saying that every single woman on earth is like this, and I'm sure that there are lots of exceptions you can point out, that women tend to communicate and be a lot more verbal, they are more in tune with each other, whereas men are less verbal. And when we connect using that method or modality, we tend to feel a sense of connection to our spouses and our partners in a way that nothing else can help us to feel. We there is a sense of borderlessness where we can, communicate our deepest emotions and feelings when ordinarily we don't have that opportunity. From the time we were small, and this, Douglas, you have done numerous talks about this. Men are denied their quote-unquote feminine aspects. We're taught not to cry. We're taught to be a man. We're taught to, if something hurt us, we bite our lips and keep it in. So we grew up lacking the ability and the capability of expressing our deeper and deepest emotions. Whereas during this period, we can express ourselves in an uninhibited way. And hence, it is one of those areas where we thoroughly can be most vulnerable, and note that term, vulnerable, to our spouses and our partners. Obviously, there is a physical aspect, and there are emotional aspects that go along with that. But I hasten to say that women tend to enjoy it just as much, and I even dare say probably even more than we do. I don't know if Naomi would like to make some commentaries on this.
Like I said, I don't know about like it more. I think it's. I hear what you're saying about the especially about the male repression aspect as well. And there's a lot of males that are, repressed in terms of expressing their vulnerabilities. And I think it goes both ways. I think that there are some women that are also feeling that form of repression, and it is quite specific. So I don't really want to generalize, but I do hear what you're saying about there's a lot of repression on both parts, which kind of then filters into the bedroom and into the sexual antics. So I think it's more about having an open discussion, open lines of communication.
Well, you see, it'll be interesting because what we want to do is encourage people to, especially women and men as well, women, to answer that question. You know what I mean? And then we will get it straight from them.
From the horse's mouth.
Horse's mouth. You see what I'm saying? Because there is that. You said there is a myth, so we want to break that myth tonight. You know what I mean? By 12 o'clock, we want to break that myth there. And set the record straight. But because even I would say that, well, from the reason you're saying now, but before you said that, I would say that men has more of a sex drive than women. But when you say that now, I'm to open my mind now and just say, well, all right then. But again, we want to hear from women if because you said there is that myth, and there's that kind of myth,
And I think definitely we have to be careful of those myths, because that's where I think some of these misconceptions and expectations can cause problems, because there are plenty of men that actually will have lower sex drives than their spouses. Because I've got my sister friends, so I know, and so especially in relation to them. And then there is an issue then when the woman actually feels like she is higher and almost feels guilty and ashamed for having a higher sex drive than a man.
Oh, yes.
So, it can work. It can work both ways.
Yes. And there's a little psychological thing going on there as well. Sorry, Dr. Love, you want to say something there?
No, that's a very important point, because people could get involved in relationships and they have mismatch libido drive. Some people get into a relationship, and usually these things are not spoken about. These things are not brought to the table. Nobody sits around and say, oh, well, I have a high sex drive and I want this amount of, this regularly. And it's usually an assumed kind of thing. I tell you another funny thing that occurs now that we're talking about this topic. We have also noted that when people become or get in love or fall in love or go through what we call a limerence, or that limerick period, or that period of romantic feelings, it seems as though that even those people who have a very low libido, their drive heightens to match the other person. So during that period, you fall in love with this girl, or the woman falls in love with this man, and they think this is a match made in heaven. They're like bunny rabbits. And that expectation, and they go into marriage. Obviously, as I usually say, that romantic phase normally passes, and they get back down to earth from their honeymoon, and life takes on the normal humdrum, and then they get back into the one falls back into her or his low libido normal pattern of life, and the other one is thinking, well, what happened here? And that causes a lot of friction, a lot of quarrels, a lot of upset, and they don't fully comprehend and understand what has gone on. And that's something that many couples face. Obviously, for reasons that we understand, nobody comes out and say this, that, oh look.
Well, I think but I think you said earlier on that it's something we don't really talk about.
No.
I mean, as a man, no. For a reason, his sex drive is not probably as high as his wife, and there's not something he's going to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So it's something we need to talk about, and something, if you like it or not, you do need a sex counselor to really work through, because it could be something mentally what's blocking you, or some kind of block there.
It could be, yeah.
Yes,
And it could be natural too. Many of us we're born with different abilities. We're born with different drives. Some of us love to talk. Some of us are quiet. Some of us are natural fast runners, like Bolt himself. Some of us can't even run.
Sometimes it's lifestyle, isn't it? It's lifestyle. So like you said, the humdrum of life. So you've got the children, you've got the work, the blah, blah, blah. These are all going on. And then by the end of the night, you're exhausted and you just want to go to sleep. So then, just the thought of actually getting into the act, if you are getting into the act, sometimes it could be very dissatisfying for your partner if it gets quite boring. So then again, it's about, spicing it up. It's about communicating. But if you're naturally stressed, then sex sometimes is the last thing you're going to think about.
And to ride on that point there, because I was watching a program on TV, it's something to do with relationships or whatever. And these two couple, got married, happily married, and they got the house and the car and this and that, doing very well. But what happened with him now? He was made redundant or something like that, right? So obviously he felt a bit, I use the word depressed. He never had that kind of drive, that motivation, because he's looking for work and this is what happening, right? But it affected their relation. In fact, the bedroom, and it's only when I had to bring the sex expert to a therapist, right, to work through what he's been going through and everything, get to realize that what really was whenever that sex drive is really that he was feeling depressed, So, these things happen. So you have to get him motivated now, find him a job to get him full drive again or whatever, or find something we can focus on to get that kind of drive going, Yeah.
Yeah, you're quite right. There are many factors that affect us at different stages. When you're young, you have a lot more drive. As you go older, that's not to say that those of us who are middle age and above don't have drives. But again, you have to look at the various factors that's transpiring in and around the home, the individual, and I have a suggestion. Usually, I suggest to people that look, you schedule everything else. You schedule going to the gym. You schedule. Your life is busy, so you make schedules. I don't see anything wrong in scheduling your what do you want to call it? Your sexual activity, once a week, Do you know, Dougie, they say if you have it once a week, you actually extend your life. It can prolong your life. I mean, if you have it once a week and it prolongs your life, what if you have it once a day? I don't think we could, but that's just a passing comment. And it does a lot of things like Naomi said, it boosts your immune system, it helps with arthritis, it combats hay fever, you name it. It fights, it's anti-aging, so, helps you to sleep better. And if you're feeling pain, some women say, oh, I'm having a headache tonight. Do you know it actually helps you to relieve pain? Yes. So that's the time you should have it.
I know, but if there's problems in the relationship as well, it's quite, sex is usually the first thing that will highlight that there's issues, that either, maybe people stop doing it or there's, incompatibility differences. So, the sex is really a window to probably the state of the relationship, and it isn't just about the libido or their sex drives. Sometimes it's more about that incompatibility and the problems that they're experiencing as a couple, maybe lack of communication. So it's definitely, you could try and schedule it in, you can give them all the benefits, but at the end of the day, they both need to be committed to making it work, and you might get to a certain place where actually they're just incompatible in that area, and sex is an important part of relationships. We can't ignore that. Yeah, so if one person is feeling okay, but the other person is feeling frustrated and dissatisfied, you have a problem there. You have a problem.
Okay. Dr. Love, I'm just conscious about the time.
Yeah.
Love, do you want to give out your is it okay if you get your details? People want to talk to you about?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure that I want to pass myself off as a sexologist or a sex expert. But if you're having issues with your relationship, I am happy to help you work through those so that you can get the love you deserve. My number is 07903 317 426. Again, that number is 07903 317 426.
Dr. Love, give thanks for your powerful contribution. Give thanks.
All right. Stay strong, my brother.
Yeah, stay strong. Okay then. So that was Dr. Love on the line with us, just reading with us. And yes, we know the live link number is 07960 239 493. I repeat, 07960 239 493. What's on the line here? Hello, greetings.
It's Sergeant here.
Who's this?
Sergeant.
It's Sergeant. Mummy Sergeant. I was supposed to...
You're breaking up. You're breaking up, lovely. You're breaking up.
Hi.
Hi, yeah, perfect.
It's Sergeant here. Who's this?
Okay then. I tell you what. Turn down your computer.
You're breaking up. Hold on a second.
Turn down your computer. You're getting a feedback. You see.
Hi.
Turn down. Listen to me carefully. Turn off your computer.
Yeah, is that better?
Yes,
You turn it off?
perfect. It's
That's
perfect.
a lot better now. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Dougie. Hi, Naomi.
Hi.
How you been?
Okay, I'm good. How are you?
Give thanks and praise.
All right, so I was just listening in. You guys were having a very interesting conversation with Dr. Love, so thanks to Dr. Love for his insight.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So
I just wanted to expand a little bit about what you guys were talking about, like just to touch on the whole avenue when we speak about the angry vagina, because it can be looked at in so many different ways. Like for me, as a person who speaks about yoni wellness and who educates women about yoni eggs, for me, what I understand the angry vagina to mean is that our wombs and our vaginas actually have a voice.
All right.
And what happens is with a lot of us women, through all the stress and the trauma that we endure in life, our womb space is our creative energy, and that's where we give birth to our ideas. So the thing is, when we don't listen to these ideas and we shut down our voice. So when you describe the angry vagina, I see it as that, our wombs have a voice. And when we don't listen to the voice, it's like our voice is telling us, our wombs are in constant conversation with us about what it exactly is that she needs. And it's for us to answer that. And just as, Naomi rightly said, there's a positive aspect to look at anger. Anger is not just seen as one-sided. Angriness can spur you to move into a positive vibration. So every emotion that we experience in our bodies are actually a positive one, because anger can be positive, because anger can move you to do things that, when you're happy, as you guys were speaking about, you become complacent and you don't push yourself.
Yeah, but Barbara, let me jump in there, because what you said there, you put things into context. You really put into perspective crystal clear. That your vagina is a voice, and it will shut down. Yeah,
exactly.
And I like the way you've put things into perspective.
And I also want to just say, because just in case it wasn't clear, that Sarjo, she hopefully she's going to tell you a little bit more, but she is the Yoni egg educator. She does beautiful, when I mean beautiful, amazing products that are heartfelt, well-being and holistic. So please, Sarjo, tell them a little bit about your business and all your work. It's beautiful.
Okay, so again, for those who don't know, my name is Sarjo, and I have a business. My business is known as Sarjo's Holistics. And my vision and my intention is to educate and to inspire other women to take care of themselves, to love on themselves, regardless of what it is that we're going through. Because in order for us to understand our essence as women, it's important for us to kind of work from the inside out. So the great thing about our vaginas or our wombs, or our yonis, for want of a better word, because it encompasses all those things, as Naomi rightly said, is that is our voice, and that's what we need to nurture in order for us to reach our higher self and to reach our full potential and to understand what our purpose is in life. And when we don't connect with that space, we don't know what our purpose is, we don't know what our voice is.